Voices from the Mausoleum is brought to you by the You Run Podcast Network and yourunpodcast.com.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Voices from the Mausoleum, and welcome to another episode of Filmmaker Interviews. This one I feel like is a bit long overdue. Back, gosh, it had to have been, was it the end of last year? Tom and I did the review for a film called Wendigo. And that was sent to us initially by Jake Robinson, who is the writer-director of that film. And that was kind of how this interaction between myself and Jake started, was through that movie, The Wendigo. And then we continued to chat off and on about found footage and filmmaking and projects you are working on. And so today our main talking point is going to be about your upcoming found footage film, which is Children of the Woods. And so Steve and I did a spoiler-free episode. Whoever posts this, if we remember, we'll try to remember to put it in the cloud, to link it so that you can go watch that. And yeah, so we're just gonna kind of get to know you a little bit better, talk about your filmmaking experiences, and get to know more about what you've got coming our way. Well, we've already seen it, but there are other people's ways with Children of the Woods. So Jake Robinson is a filmmaker from South Carolina, from my neck of the woods. Finally, somebody from the South, who has been creating films since he was young, with his first project being a Michael Myers fan film at the age of 9.
Not planned. But
Yes.
After a hiatus from filming between 2008 and 2019, he made his debut film in 2022, a found footage horror movie titled The Wendigo. This film was later picked up for worldwide distribution by the respected company Terror Films, which is known for doing films such as Hell House LLC, Taking of Deborah Logan. After collaborating on 3 found footage films with production company Cryptid Pictures LLC, founded with Paul Hurley and Tony Camacho. Did I say that right? Oh, good for me. Which included, I guess, the films They Are Here, Cryptid Collection, and My Brother's Keeper. Jake is set to release these movies on streaming platforms this year in early 2025. Jake has now launched his own production company, That Film Dude LLC, with the debut film being his 5th and possibly final found footage film titled The Children of the Woods. He's aiming for theatrical release in 2025. That is a lot of filmmaking in very short period of time. You have been busy.
Hit the ground running, dude.
Everybody was like, "You feel like you haven't stopped filming." I was like, "I haven't." It's because I wanted to break out into this industry with like a lot.
Yeah.
And found footage was the way you can make those movies with like next to nothing budget. I try to make mine look cinematic, even though we didn't have that much of a budget. So that's how I was able to accomplish so much. And these are stories I've had for years. I was just like, you know what? I finally got a team of people I trust. Let's just do it. So
Yeah. No, that's fantastic. I think that is one of the reasons a lot of people start with found footage, because seems to be it's definitely more budget friendly than trying to do other types of filmmaking. And as you know, like, we're fans of found footage on this channel. So
yeah, I mean, look at the director of Godzilla. He started off found footage.
Found footage, that's true.
He was in VHS and did the new Blair Witch, and then he went on to be Godzilla.
And I didn't know that he did Godzilla until I was talking about some other project and the name, and then it came up that he was involved in Godzilla, and I was like, I didn't even know that. Oh my God. Talk about a big jump from one thing to another. So yeah. So I mean, so you did that when you were 9 years old, which is a really cool, I mean, like, I didn't get to do fun things like that when I was that young, involved in the horror world, I guess. But obviously you were in the fan film. So, but what kind of was that the start of what got you into filmmaking? Like, how did you end up kind of going down this path?
So I knew I wanted to do something with film because I watched something on TV, and I can't remember what it was, but it was like when we had like HBO and Stars, they would always do like behind the scenes stuff back then. A lot more of it, but they don't do it now. They would have like a special 30-minute section of like, behind the scenes of Twister. So I watched stuff like that. And so I was like, that's pretty cool. I want to get into that. And then my dad got a camcorder, and then we was filming like family events, and then we would always do like scary, stupid stuff. Like my dad did a parody of Blair Witch. He just the scene where it's up close and drip, 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 and he was just like sitting there with the camera, and then he just poured water over his face. He was like, because I was way too young when I watched that, but no, it was stuff like that.
Yeah.
That really stuck out. And then he's the reason why I like horror, is because growing up, it's every Friday night, Hollywood Video, Jiffy Pop, go home, watch the movies, stuff like that. So
yeah, that was pretty much my childhood with my sister, was going and renting movies and then going and eating junk and watching them all. So
yeah,
that's
and
cool.
his mom, how she got him into horror is like, because when he grew up poor, so on the farm they would like snap peas and shuck corn while watching horror movies in their living room. So it was like just sitting there on the porch, no air conditioning, stuff like that. They'd be watching it in the living room, shucking corn, snapping peas, everything they got from the garden that day.
Yeah,
pretty cool. So
that is pretty cool. And then to pass that on to, you, and getting to do things like that with you. I mean, obviously not the peas and the corn part, but the other stuff. That's neat.
Horror is in the family then.
Yeah, and now I'm ruining my child. So she has a weird infatuation with Bigfoot and calls them Totos.
Oh my God.
So when we was making our Bigfoot movie, when I had the suit and testing it and walking around, excuse me, she was just freaking out. She was just like, Totos. Like,
oh my God.
So yeah, I'll just send you the video. I filmed her a video. I bought her own Bigfoot doll, and she walked in and she was like this, and I bought her Bigfoot feet slippers. So I don't know why, I don't know how, but her favorite movie's on Netflix called Bigfoot Family and Son of Bigfoot.
Yeah.
It's like two of her favorite movies, but she loves Bigfoot and she loves scary stuff like Spirit Halloween. So
that's so cute. Totos. Oh my God.
Yeah. That's what I've been working out to do a children's book. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No.
I've been working to do a children's book based off of a little girl meeting Bigfoot, and they become friends just for her. So
yeah, I saw you shared, I think, like the picture. There's a picture or something you shared recently about that, and I was like, oh, like we 100% would buy. Like my kid is also super into like any type of monster thing at all. But we have I forget the name of them, but there's a set of books that's like baby Bigfoot, baby Yeti, baby whatever, and we have all of them. And so like that, we would absolutely eat that up.
Yeah, I was writing that story, and then I was like, because I love Goosebumps, and so I was really wanting to do something of that kind of realm. So I was just like, how about I do like a kid-friendly Bigfoot kind of movie,
That's cute.
And like adapt a little bit of the children's book into where it's like the little girl basically tames the Bigfoot. So
I love
that. Name
Totos. He's just a little teddy bear.
That's so cute. I love that.
Yeah. Aw.
Yeah.
So how found footage was it? Did it go back to like your father's parody of it? Was that like the true origin, or found footage?
So for me, it was Blair Witch. I mean, it's a super basic answer, but it was. Yeah. I was around the time of the marketing. I was still a little bit young, but I understood it. And we kind of, my older brothers showed me the website, and they were like, and that was when the birth of internet was happening. It was just like perfect timing. It was a perfect storm. So stuff like that is what really brought it out. And then like I watched Halloween 78. So that also helped with why I want to film.
Yeah.
But no, found footage is that. And then when I got older, I didn't really see that much that really caught my eye, but like Cloverfield really brought it back out, because I was like, oh my gosh, I never thought I'd see a kaiju movie in Blair Witch style.
Right.
I never really liked the Paranormal Activity movies. I appreciate them, but it's just, ironically, I like, my favorite one is the one that everybody hates, which is Next of Kin.
We love that one.
It's great.
Yeah, everybody hates that one. Here. Like, but I know why that movie failed. They shouldn't have said it was Paranormal Activity. Should have just called it Next of Kin, and it would have been a success. Yeah. People went in thinking, oh, it's Paranormal Activity, and then they changed the formula, and everybody hated it. I'm like, you ruined it by the title.
Yeah, that's it. We like that one here. That's a good one.
I just like the way it was shot visually, the story. It was such a great movie. But yeah, it was basically Blair Witch. I mean, that's what Children of the Woods was, because I've all my other movies I try to make look super cinematic, and then so like for my 5th and final found footage film, I wanted to really go back to my roots by like using the camera I used with like growing up as a child and film everything on true like high 8 tape and stuff like that, just like Blair Witch, stuff like that. This.
Yeah.
So this is what I grew up with, and this is what we filmed the whole movie on. So
That's
so
awesome.
it was.
Bringing a little bit of history.
I just
into
wanted
the
to
movie.
really go back to the roots of it. It's so.
Yeah. Steve, you and I talked about trying to figure out like how it got to look the way that it did. And so when Jake watched our review of it, he messaged me after and told me that that's what they filmed it on. And that's what, and so I was like, that's why I wanted to touch on it, because I didn't tell Steve that. I was like, well, I'm going to wait until the interview and let him hear it, from Jake instead of me. But yeah, so that's one of the reasons it looks like the way that it does is because of the way that it was filmed.
Yeah, I've had people
so
say, dude, that's such a great filter. And I'm like, it's not.
Yes, and we said that in the episode. We were like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how they edited it to look this way or what he did, but it just looked so realistic for the time, for it to be
usually
set
tell when it's like a filter or something.
Yeah.
We just did not give that off at all.
Filters, it's too much going on. Like there's with the true analog, it's subtle. It's like those little indifferences and little discrepancies all over the screen that just come naturally with the tape messing up, or tape being dirty. But yeah, it was just people were saying, oh, it's a great filter, and I was just like, I'm taking it as a compliment. I was like, dude, no, it's all real. Like it was scary the whole time we was filming, because I was just like, because tape breaks, tapes will ruin. And it's like,
that's a good point.
It was so, everybody was like, because usually I'm focused on set, and then like I try to make sure everybody's having a good time, but like this time I was like quiet.
Stressed
out. As soon as we wrapped, I immediately ran to the house and put it on the converter to digitally convert it to an SD before the tape broke or something happened.
I was going to ask you how you transferred it.
Yeah, it was there's a little device I bought that was pretty cool. This little thing. This part goes into the camera, and then I plug in an SD card, and then I basically play it, and then it records it digitally to an SD card. So.
You have to play. It's almost like when you record a VHS tape from the TV, right? Yeah.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah. Just the process of editing it was just fun. It was just and I was trying to make this my last one, but now I've gotten so many people that have seen it want me to do more with this story. And then filming it on tape like really reignited the love of found footage, because I was getting burnt. I was like, I've done nothing but found footage.
Sure.
And I wanting to grow as a filmmaker, because found footage, I love and respect it, but it's been a crutch. It's like I'll never make true stories telling that I've been wanting to do for years, because you got to hang on to the rules of found footage. It has to be this. You got to say why this, and it's like there's so many rules that were holding me back. So it's just I definitely want to branch out to do more traditional storytelling, and I have a cool idea that hopefully will happen next year. It's just now I'm in the realm of I can't rely on found footage budget. I got to have an actual budget.
Sure. Yeah.
That's it too. Yeah, well, it sounds like you don't want to necessarily be defined by one particular subgenre, but you still sort of love it all.
Even if it's the best subgenre in the genre.
I mean, I try to switch it up with my movies. Like my anthology movie, I try to make it campy and like Goosebumps. My They Are Here movie is a found footage comedy. It's rednecks and stoners versus aliens. It's so random and stupid, but it's just and then I made a Bigfoot movie, but I try to separate from traditional found footage Bigfoot movies with it being kind of goofy. Like we have a very serious story. It's a lot of emotional performances. It's a serious emotional movie that just so happens to have a Bigfoot filmed in the way of found footage. I wanted to make the scariest Bigfoot movie as well, like very accurate with the sounds and how he moves. I talked to some Bigfoot cryptozoologist people, like certified degree, everything. Like, how do they move? Are they actually like aggressive? And they were like, it's just more so when you go in territory. So I wrote that in the story to where the reason why this Bigfoot's so aggressive, the development of housing and neighborhoods, cutting down trees,
Yeah.
pissed it off. So
Yeah.
it's like you're pushing him out of his home. So that's why he's so aggressive. Like
Makes sense.
it really made like a very serious story. And that's the one I'm most excited for out of everything I've done besides Children of the Woods, is that one. Cause I'm going to try to push for that one to go in the theaters too. Cause
Right.
that one's very, very cinematic. We try to get it pretty close to the style of Next of Kin. So it was pretty clean.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, and I did want to say too, talking about growing and branching out, just from the two things I have seen, which is Wendigo and then now Children of the Woods. And I know I've said this to you and I've said this to Steve, but I saw a tremendous amount of growth as a director and as a writer, like moving from that story. And I liked Wendigo. That's not like a knock by any means, but I could just tell that you were growing as a filmmaker between those two films. So I get when you kind of feel like you've reached like what you're able to, like peak of what you think you can do in like this specific thing. And now you want to do, the other stuff. But I wanted to tell you that face to face that I had noticed a tremendous amount of growth between just those two films alone. And so it's exciting to see what else you do.
Debut film. And I was a nervous wreck the whole time.
Sure.
And everybody showed so much support and was patient with me. And it was just like, so it was just a lot of nervousness and stuff like that. And they are here, a lot of hiccups behind the scenes, that learned me a lot of things as well. So just to talk in our Southern accent, it learned me something. So, and then, the anthology, that was just fun. We filmed every story in a weekend in like 2 months. And then we didn't take it serious, like the They Are Here. So the They Are Here movie, we made a short version of it in the anthology.
Okay.
So yeah, and then we did like a Bigfoot. So it's like clowns, Bigfoot, serial killer, and aliens. Just a lot of stuff, everybody. Yeah. And then we did The Brother's Keeper, the Bigfoot movie, which is, I wanted to be something more serious and grounded. And then Children of the Woods, I just went buck wild with everything around it besides the movie.
Yeah. And I wanted to kind of dive in because I know you've said a couple of things about kind of how you got into like specifically doing it a found footage style and those kind of things. But was there something in particular that inspired the concept for the story elements and the way that you wanted to tell this story to everybody for Children of the Woods?
So yeah, I wanted to make a Blair Witch for the new generation. I wanted to, and not more so as a carbon copy with the story and a witch in the woods and people with a camcorder, but more so the marketing. I wanted to, just like how they embraced the birth of the internet, I wanted to embrace trends, social media. So that's why we built websites. We got an ARG on TikTok that did phenomenal. It's got millions of views. It went crazy. I was very shocked. And then we made a video game that came out on Steam, which is a prequel to the movie. So the footage that you watch in the movie, you find those tapes in the game. And then we built a website that kind of dives more into it. And then we had like a really big YouTuber, Loie Lane. She covered us about 4 times. Made a few videos. She just live streamed playing the game. Like it's kind of like taken off. And then the movie's fairly short. It's about 65 minutes flat, but I think it's a good sweet spot for found footage movies. It's like if you keep going longer than that, and you got 45 minutes of people just walking in the woods
for no reason. Yeah, no, this is a very tight storyline, but it works. Like there's so many movies that I think push themselves to the hour-and-a-half mark for found footage, and they would have been spectacular if they had just left it at about an hour.
Oh,
seriously.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and the thing is too, I wanted to build a franchise, found footage franchise, like Paranormal Activity and Blair Witch. Even though we don't get many Blair Witch movies, but we get a shit ton of Paranormal Activity movies.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make a new franchise, like even because like I said, I'm trying to step away from found footage, but with it kind of taking off and everybody really digging it, and hopefully we get this in theaters. I have a cool idea to really enhance the story, like with a sequel and all that other stuff. And like I said, I wanted to build a franchise with it, and so see how it goes. But like I said, I got a lot more cooking up with it. I just want to see how everybody likes it. So
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's sort of you definitely leave a lot of mystery and nuance to merit a sequel. But I also feel like it's a very strong movie on its own too.
Mhm.
You know, not discourage you from doing more. Please do more.
I mean,
No,
that's it. Bye, guys.
it is a real solid hour and 5, right? Like you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I just wanted to. I didn't want to spoon feed the story to everybody. I hate when movies
Yeah.
basically. I hate it when trailers just tell me you don't need to watch the movie now.
Yeah.
So I just hate it when movies literally give you all the information in the first 40 minutes. So like the impact of the final act, it's like, well, kind of knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
And so with this, I wanted to really, as the characters are really like confused of what's going on, I wanted everybody else to kind of be confused on what's going
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And what's crazy is I did a reverse storytelling. We got a documentary coming out before the movie. And so the questions that you will ask in the movie are actually answered in the documentary, but you don't know it yet because the documentary comes out first. So it's a weird storytelling, but it's very confusing. But I'm trying to make it where people follow everything. It's like you have to invest in the movie. You can't just watch the movie and you're done. I know some people won't like that, but I like stuff that makes you work for it. Like that's why the ARG shows little stuff from the movie, and the video game shows clips from the movie, and then the documentary has a new insight of why the cult is doing what it's doing and what it is and how long they've been doing it. And then the movie kind of shows you what's been going on.
Right.
Oh. And then the sequel idea, I'm kind of playing on it being more modern. It's like this is still happening 25 years later.
Right.
So this is all the accounts going on since like after 2000. So
wow.
Yeah.
I love that though. I love sort of the, I think that's the geek in me. I love to invest in a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like dive into like the lore of it. I'm
That's also very Blair Witch. Like that's
Yeah.
a very Blair Witch approach, because that was one of the things they were attempting to do with their marketing stuff, was to get people invested in this world before they were able to see it. And so I mean that's and it's really and this is like not exactly the same thing, but it's kind of like what FNAF did too. Five Nights at Freddy's came out and it gave like no information or anything to anybody, and it created this thirst for wanting to know more. So then when they did more, they would leave little hints or little things, and but you'd have to pay attention if you want to be able to follow it. And I think that there's 1,000,000% a market for that, for people who are looking for something more involved, something to be more invested in.
Yeah, and it's like, and that's the other thing too, that I've looked over all the biggest found footage movies, and like even Paranormal Activity, they didn't really do a traditional kind of release. They did like random screenings, and that was the trailer of everybody watching the movie and freaking out. So they just gave people like FOMO, and like I was like, I kind of want to watch this now.
Those.
Yeah, so it was like but that's why I was sitting there thinking, when I was kind of replicating the marketing Blair Witch, I'm like, nobody else has done it. Like since Blair Witch, no one has done it. And I was just sitting there thinking, I was like, I feel like I'm the first one in years, not trying to like toot my own horn and everything, but I was just like sitting there, I was like, why has nobody else done it? Because not even filmmakers didn't want to invest into it, because that's why I'm trying to make this my last found footage movie / franchise, because if this takes off, I got to invest a lot into the storytelling instead of just making a one-off movie like my other ones. Right. And so I want to build this. So like I said, people might not like this one, but like the second one will be more modern, because not everybody likes analog horror, but analog horror is making a huge comeback. It's coming up big.
It is. I've noticed that there's like all of these YouTube channels all of a sudden that are doing these like, and I just got turned on to one of them that's called like Greylock or something like that. That shit is wild.
Yeah, I love it though. And then one of my favorite podcasts is the Black Tapes.
Oh, I've heard of this one. Yeah.
It's creepy. It's creepy. He's like listening to tapes, traveling, investigating, and it's like different stories with each tape. It's crazy. That would be such a great show. Yeah.
I'm literally going on my podcast app right now and just
He's like, I'm gonna find it
Yeah.
like right now. So I
Oh,
All the black tapes.
that's my ADD. I have to immediately go and
You're good. I have to do something while I'm doing something else to focus on the other thing.
yeah.
So, like, y'all don't see me right now, but I'm just sitting here like this, like this.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I wanted to make another big franchise, not a one-off movie that people will forget once it's released in 3 months. Because Blair Witch, it's like you were saying in Five Nights at Freddy, Blair Witch had these PC games, the 2 documentaries, the comic book line,
Yeah.
the 6 different books and the illustration book, and then like there was so much that came out that no one didn't know of, but it was like one of those secret little things, just like, dude, I got the comic book of it, right? And then it's just and I think that's why the new Blair Witch, the Blair Witch, didn't really take off as well, because one, they didn't give enough time to grow. It was just like, oh, by the way, this is not called The Woods, it's called the Blair Witch. And everybody was like, okay, cool. And then didn't do no hype up, no marketing, no nothing. And that's why it fell short. And that's why I'm on the side of all the original cast and crew petitioning with whoever picked it up, Blumhouse.
Lionsgate.
Yeah. And it's like y'all are going to do this again and make it suck. It's like, one, pay us. 2, let us help you make it a success. It's like your last one didn't do so well. I love the last one. I think it was great. I was one of the ones where like I wish I would have seen the witch in the first one. So when the second one like really delivered, spoilers, everybody, sorry. When the second one actually delivers the witch, I'm like, that's cool. I like that.
I liked it. I liked it too. I know it's there. It can be a little divisive sometimes, but I really liked it as well too.
Oh yeah, like I said, Blair Witch is my favorite found footage movie, but I'm not ignorant like that to be like sit there and be like, oh, it's so scary. It's like it is scary, but nothing happens.
Yeah, sure.
Nothing happens.
Sure.
It is an hour and a half of nothing. It's just the world that they built around it that really made it a success.
Right.
And that's why Blair Witch didn't really do too well, is because they didn't build it around. They were just like, oh, here you go.
Yeah.
It's like. So that's why I focused on my marketing before I even wrote the script for Children of the Woods. I knew how the marketing I wanted to do. And so I focused on the lore and the history and the documentary and the website and then the video game. And then it all just kind of like formed the story of the movie. So I focused on marketing and the history of the movie before I even wrote the movie.
Right. I know you're looking at having a theatrical release for this. The documentary, do you have an idea of when that's going to be out? Is that out already?
No, it's not out. We're still filming that right now. It's more so getting a lot of people. We're having people travel and fly in to do some interviews and stuff like that. And then it's a lot of, I make all of my own artwork and everything and history and news articles. So that takes me a while because I work 2 jobs. So
real life. Yeah, you got real life stuff too.
So it just saves money. It's like I would love to pay a legit artist to like for his worth, but like some of these guys are like, oh yeah, I can make you this newspaper article $700. I'm like, it's like I'm trying to support you, man, but it's like those people that sell plates where it's like 1 chicken nugget, a cup of apple juice, and applesauce. It's like it's $30. I freshly cooked this plate for you. It's like, so that's a southern thing around here. Sorry, but like people always on Facebook was like, I'm selling plates. I cooked this for everybody. It's like $45 was like a piece of chicken and nothing.
Yeah. There's people who live around me that sell like enchiladas and stuff like that. So like you'll just see random cars like pulling up and then they'll just bring out these like little containers and they'll like give them to people in cars and they just like drive off.
Yeah, it's like a food drug deal. It's like you got that nacho sauce.
Exactly.
I love
got
it.
The fries that make you cry.
I'm getting jealous. I don't know if we really have. I mean, we have people selling stuff on the side of the road in New York, but this sounds like, if I can get some nacho sauce on the side of the road, sure. And so sure.
Well, I'm jealous of you because I want New York pizza. So
yeah, really.
Oh, that you don't get at the side of the road. You got to go to like, a
The
little mom and pop
spots.
shop, brick oven in the back. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
if I get into this film festival, which is in New York, I'm coming up there. You got to take me to a pizza place.
Brooklyn?
Is it the Brooklyn?
I think it is. It's Screen
October?
Fest.
No, that's not Brooklyn.
Oh.
Send me the Brooklyn one. I'll submit to that one.
Well, yeah, the Brooklyn Horror Film Festival. I've been going there every year for the past couple of years now.
Yeah,
I'll look at that. I'll see if they're opening. I know Screenfest personally emailed me saying to submit.
Are
they did that for
they
did that for Wendigo, but I didn't get in. But Screenfest, their festival's in New York, so I don't know where. I've never been, but I know Screenfest is another one in New York I submitted to.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they might be in Manhattan. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
No, I'll look it up.
The Brooklyn one is pretty big though too. So I mean, as far as like, right, Steve,
They're on their 9th year, or they're going to be. I think maybe their 10th year soon. I forget which one.
Yeah, it's like.
Oh, I got my badges here still.
Oh wow,
this was their 8th. So this year's their 9th.
Yeah,
nice.
So they're coming up.
I'll definitely see if they're open. I'll submit.
Yeah, like the prior year they had a deal with Shudder, so they had VHS.
Ooh.
99.
My movie might get lost.
What?
I said there might be some heavy hitters there. My movie might get lost.
Well, Shudder wasn't there last year, so I don't know what's. I mean, I think they had different partners.
I know for the Unnamed Footage Festival, which is the big only found footage festival.
Yep.
Welcome Villain sponsored it, and they picked up a film from it.
That's cool.
Two.
That's the one that's in California.
Think so, or Arizona. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah.
Something on the other side though, on the West Coast.
It's pretty far.
Yeah. I want to go so bad to that one day, but it's so far away. It's so
far. And the thing is, every time they have it, it's my daughter's birthday. So it's like one of these years I gotta make a hard decision. But I told my wife, I was like, if the movie gets accepted, I gotta go. I said, I'm not gonna go if my movie doesn't get accepted, but if it gets accepted, I was like, go.
Yeah, I want to go as a spectator, just as someone who loves the subgenre. I think it'd be really cool, and to get to meet
one of the biggest films I've been waiting on. Welcome Villain picked it up from last year's festival, and it's Invoking Yell.
Oh yes, we've talked about that on the Coffee Crypt, right? I think.
Yeah. Did y'all see it?
No.
No. Is it out?
No, they don't even have a release date yet. So I'm thinking it might be getting theatrical because here's the thing: they just picked up Mind, Body, Soul months ago, and it's already out. And Invoking Yell was picked up last year, and it's still not out. So I'm like, I wonder if y'all getting ready to do a theater because they did that for Malum. Because my buddy Chaney Morrow, he was John Malum in Malum. Yeah, so he was the one that kind of gave me an inside scoop. He was like, yeah, the owner of Welcome Villain loves found footage. I was like, oh. And then they went on to pick up 2 more. I was like, okay, let me try. So
yeah,
I've already sent in pitches to Welcome Villain, Cinedigm, IFC for the movie. So I'm just waiting to hear back. So
yeah,
you never know unless you roll the dice.
Fingers crossed. Yeah, I mean, well, because when Wendigo came out on Tubi,
it came out on Tubi, Screenbox.
Yeah, I feel
we didn't
like
get accepted on Amazon. I still don't know why, but we got accepted everywhere else, which is weird.
Oh, that is weird.
Well, I think you and I are in one of the same found footage groups on Facebook. Yeah. And so, but I'm in like a couple, and I feel like when Wendigo first came out on Tubi, because I know like Tom and we watched it early before it was released, but I felt like people were like really hyped about it. Like I felt like I saw a lot of really positive things about it. Like people were like really into it. They were excited to see.
I hyped that thing up for like 2 years before it finally came out. I hyped it up for like 2 years. Just teasing. And everybody was like, I want to see it. So a lot of people was really pissed off that they didn't like it because it was like, you hyped it for 2 years and it sucked. I was like, it's like I tried. I didn't think it sucked. So.
No, I definitely don't think it sucked. I think that found footage tends to be like one of those things where people are like hypercritical sometimes. Like they don't know how to just like have fun with a movie. They have to like it has to be something very specific, or they think it's not good, and it's just not. Like
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
the
way.
original story was bloodier. We was actually going to show a lot of the kills, and
Mhm.
then the ending was way different. The ending, I was supposed to be chased by everyone and the monster, but the suit was falling apart. So it's like
Oh,
if he ran, an arm would fall off, and it was like, oh
oh,
no! So we had to rewrite it. So I just made the torch scene longer, and it was like that's the ending. So,
yeah.
but yeah, it was originally supposed to be I was being like every time I ran by a tree, one of the people that got wendigoed is what I call it. They got wendigoed. I would run by them, and they're just standing there beside the tree, and I pass another victim, and I turn around, and the wendigo is chasing me, knocking down
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
It would have been epic, but it's just suits falling apart, and
I mean, yeah.
um or we didn't have enough budget to do some of the kills. Like Wendigo was supposed to like slash people's throats and eat them, and so
Yeah.
just some stuff we found out on set. I was like, crap, so I can't do it. So,
Yes. Yeah.
but I want to do a redo of Wendigo, and I finally got a hold of some Native American actresses, and actually found a Native American makeup artist, like a gore makeup artist, and I pitched it to her, and she's like super excited about it. So I was like,
That's awesome.
I want it to be authentic. I want it to be representative. Everything. I want it to be true, and I want them to like really help represent the movie with
Yeah.
crew being of the culture, and
I
then
love
not
that.
just being
Yeah.
like that. Because Wendigo, everybody was like, you didn't tell much about the movie. I was like, because it's a bunch of white people disrespecting the culture running into the woods.
Yeah.
I'm like, I
Mhm.
was like, I didn't want to sit there and again spoon feed the
Yeah.
Wendigo to everybody, because I wanted you to go out and research what is this creature.
Yeah.
But I thought everybody knew about a Wendigo, but after my movie came out, it was like, I don't even know what this is. You should have explained it. I'm like, how do y'all love cryptids and don't know what a
And don't
Wendigo
know what a
is?
Wendigo is. Yeah. No.
Uh,
I just
I'm
think there's an episode of Supernatural. I think in the first season they tackle it like pretty right away.
Episode 2.
Right?
Do they
Yeah.
really? I'd never watched that show.
Season 1, episode 2. It is the most accurate Wendigo you will ever see. Because Wendigos don't have antlers and all that stuff. They're just skinny, pale-looking creatures. But it's the most accurate portrayal of that movie of a Wendigo. And I had explained to people with my Wendigo, it's like, oh, you have antlers, and it's not a deer skull. And I was like, it's not his head, it's his helmet. I based my Wendigo off of a story I read where it was a Native American warrior who took upon the curse to save his tribe. So he wore like a skull helmet and trees and camouflage to be one with the woods to hunt people.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, it was a lot more that I didn't explain, but
Yeah.
when I explained it to people after, everybody was like, "Oh, that's really cool." And I was like, "Yeah, what's under the mask is the real monster." And I was
That's
like,
the
"Oh."
monster. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Are you looking to see where we are?
I was looking at the notes. I was looking at the okay. Because I wanted to ask about, you mentioned characters, and something that I really loved with jumping from Wendigo to Children of the Woods.
Yeah.
What I think really grounds it, even though it's like only an hour and 5, is like the character moments are really
Yes.
strong in this movie.
Yeah.
How was it working with your actors and getting sort of the performances that you were looking for?
So 2 of them I've done 4 movies with already. And one of them was actually my nephew. The one holding the camera with the deep voice, that's my nephew. And that was his acting debut.
Oh wow.
Oh.
And so you can probably tell. I'm just kidding. I always make
No.
fun of him. I always make fun of him because I had other actors who've been doing this for a while, and they were applauding his performance, especially the running scene when he's losing his mind, seeing everything in the woods.
Yeah.
But yeah, he did really good. But no,
Yeah.
Angel, the one with the really grueling performance with the tree, she I've known her for years, but never had a chance to work with her amongst the indie community around here. So
Yeah.
she always does a lot of great movies, but I always wanted to showcase her range because I seen that like I was like people are typecasting her It's like, oh, she's going to be like the crazy girl and stuff like that. And I was like, I know she can really act. I can see it.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to showcase what she really can do. So other directors be like, oh, wow. And it was just like, yeah, it's like, stop writing these crappy roles for all these people. They actually can act.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's probably gonna get me in trouble, but I don't care. So not everybody likes me around here anyway. I don't care. So, but no, she did a phenomenal performance. And Kelsey, she was the emo looking girl in the film. She wanted to be a part of it because of Angel, and then Angel recommended her, and then another actor recommended her, and then her boyfriend. They're like a package deal. So I casted him with like, yeah, you want to be a killer and kill your girlfriend? He was like, hell yeah. So I was like, I got you. So
Yeah.
the scene for one of the deaths, it's him. So I was like, all right. It was like you don't need to do 5 takes of this. All right, don't hurt her. So,
Yeah.
but no, it was everybody did really phenomenal, and it's probably the best film I've done found footage wise because of their performances.
Yeah. Yeah. They were great.
It was so great. It's like there wasn't a dry eye for that scene at the tree. Everybody, it was quiet. We luckily was able to get that one take because
Oh, nice.
she needed 5 minutes to get there, and then when she got there, she was like, "Roll," and I was like, "Oh God!" So I was yelling at everybody. I was like, "Shut up! Shut up! Let her get this." Just telling all the cast at the house or the crew at the house is like, "Be quiet." And so she knocked it out of the park, and everybody did great performances. Tyler, who was Logan in Wendigo, he did really great. And like I said, I'm most proud of this film because of the performances. It really grounded it, and even the interviews, like everybody, the co-stars and all that stuff, and they did great. And a lot of the people that I interviewed, like in the opening of the film, I told them it was 90s, and then I sent them wardrobe. Like, this is kind of like what you need to wear, and this is like the aesthetic I'm going for.
Yeah, the costuming was on point.
Dead on.
Oh yeah, I was bugging everybody. They were sending me outfits, and I was like, no. And they're like, what do you mean? I said it needs to be baggy and don't color match. It's like you're wearing, and they're like, what do you mean? I was like, I'm telling you. I'm like, this is what I remember from the 90s. Everything was oversized, nothing fit. And then like shirts had different colors on it. Like
everything clashed.
So I told everybody, it says your best bet, go to Goodwill, buy your outfit, and you will find immediately what you want. And then some of them did that, and they sent me it. I was like, that's it. I was like, that's exactly it. And then I was sending them videos of how interviews from the 90s. I'm like, all right, you need to get this in your head. None of this new lingo. Like, don't be like bet or like no cap. And it's like, don't be saying that. Like, I need you to take your lingo and throw it out the window. Like, you're in the 90s. Like, so it like I said, just the building around it and the costuming, I was so proud of it that we nailed it with just the aesthetic of it. I was just like, I literally had somebody review it and say like, I thought this was from the 90s until you told me. So like,
no, for sure. Yeah. I totally didn't. I would have thought the same thing if I hadn't known. I definitely pulled that off for sure.
I still use 90s slang. Am I old?
I don't even know what that means. What is 90s slang like?
Rad. Rad is kind of 80s, 90s.
I still say Gucci. It's all Gucci.
That's not 90s.
I don't say either of those.
Is that really 90s? I don't remember.
It might be 90s here in the South because like my cousin, ever since I was like 7, like he was just like, everything's all Gucci, man, all Gucci. Like I remember him saying that. And that's the reason why I say it. But no, that I always say far out. Still, I was like, yeah, that's pretty far out, man. Like it's just.
Oh, that was from the 70s. That carried over. But you know what? 90s had like, you know how everything kind of comes back in waves.
Yes,
90s like it is now.
Yes.
Right. Well, 90s was experiencing a 70s comeback, I think. I believe it was like 60s or 70s that came back into the 90s. So that's why it's also a lot of like there's a little weird overlap with some of the lingo.
Yeah. I don't say any of those things, I don't think.
As if, whatever.
I say whatever as like a filler word.
But that
or
really, I mean,
whatever.
we say that
But it's
like
how you say it. It's like if you go whatever, like that's 90s.
Yes.
I mean, whatever is pretty. I feel like has stayed kind of timeless.
It's such a universal, like you can use that for or versatile word. You can use it for so many things.
Mm-hmm.
Like the F word.
Well, yes.
You can use that in a lot of different ways.
I'm just kidding.
Let's get the channel in trouble in like 5
No, we're good. We're past 4 minutes.
I cursed earlier. I'm sorry.
No, I cuss all the time. Steve is the only one that doesn't. He's so good. And then we have our friends that come on the channel and think our channel is like made for kids. And I'm like, that's because Steve doesn't cuss.
You know, and the funny thing is I think I do, but I guess I don't.
You don't.
You're giving me Miranda Cosgrove vibes right now. It's like, yeah, I do cuss. Like,
I do. I say cuss words.
I'm
a favorite
bad.
cuss word.
I did want to ask because I think that, you know, filming found footage in general, I think comes with its own kind of things that come up, like issues and stuff. But with doing this one and being back in the woods for so much of it, how does it work trying to guide scenes when you're like, because of the way this is shot? So like with this being shot on that handheld, like are you just like behind it all? Like how does it work kind of navigating people through things in that circumstance with it being shot in found footage style?
So there's a term in film called blocking, to where like before we do the scene, we kind of like go over everything. So
Okay.
I give people markers. I'm like, all right, so this, like I'll move like a certain log on a tree and like, this is your stopping point. So like as we're navigating, we come out of this pathway, you stop to this tree where this log is, and that's when you kind of stop and turn around to your dialogue. Instead of it, but also too is I gave everybody the dialogue and I'd set up the scene, but mannerisms and how they executed it, I gave it all to them. I'm like, this is your character. Make this as your own. I gave everybody a little backstories, like Chloe. Chloe is an art teacher who is experiencing grief and stuff like that. Her husband died. Tyler's character, Alex, he's just became a cop, came fresh out of the academy. So he's going to go visit his family. And then her brother is like works at a video store. He just kind of been living with her to help her. Like I've given all this backstory.
Yes.
Just told him, I was like, just run with it. It was like, make it your own. And, but yeah, a lot of the navigation, I gave them certain spots to stop at, but I also just gave it to them because that's what Eduardo did for Blair Witch. He just gave him a script, gave him notes every day, and then him and the crew was about like half a mile out watching them, and then just letting them make the movie. Like they are the movie. And that's why that movie felt so real, because a lot of those heated exchange were real. They were pissed off at each other on set. So.
They were mad. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. That's cool. I have never been on a set or anything to see it, but I'm always like, I'm more fascinated by the way found footage is accomplished than I am like traditional filmmaking, because I feel like it just comes with its own issues, its own things you have to think about, like, and it's just such a different style of filmmaking that I wanted to kind of hear what your thoughts were on that. Because I'm trying to picture like what that looks like watching someone making a found footage film, and I couldn't picture it. So I was like, I'm gonna ask.
Yeah, it's a lot more prep as far as the choreograph.
Sure.
It's not as near as prep as doing traditional as far as setting up the scene, like visually.
Sure.
It's like, oh, we got to have 5 1-800D lights over here, 2 on this angle. We got to position it this way. We got to turn it down here. With found footage, it's really point and shoot. So but yeah, obviously you can plan it a little better and stuff like that. And
sure,
like I said, the woods that we found, it was like 6 acres and we utilized a lot of it.
That's cool.
A lot of the paths was like start from the creek, and then 6 miles down the road we literally would start like a section of the movie.
Yeah.
I'd be nervous of actually getting lost while filming in the woods.
Yeah. Luckily, it was a lot of trails, and there was markers that we try not to film, so that way people would be like, "Oh, they know where they're at." So,
Yeah.
but there was actual markers on the trail, so
Oh, okay.
that's how we found it. And the one of the producers, it was his property and land, so
Oh, nice.
he knew the land and everything. He was just like,
That's good.
he was like, "You can go ahead." So,
Yeah. No, that's good because I definitely yeah, I don't know. I don't know that I could do anything in the woods at night. I'd probably be too like scared.
oh, we was scared because we heard a lot of bobcats. So
Oh
Oh, yeah.
no.
So
yeah.
I know, well, Angel and I are lucky to have gotten screeners, hence we did our episode. But there had been some changes
Yep.
to different, various cuts of the film. Obviously, without giving things away, was there sort of a different feeling that you wanted viewers to leave with in like newer cuts and some of the changes that you had made?
So I wanted to some with the early cut. It wasn't really complaints. It was just more so. I kept getting, "I want more." I didn't get, "It was bad. It wasn't this," which it will come eventually. Somebody will destroy the movie. That
Sure.
comes with territory.
Part
But
of
no, a
it.
lot of
Yeah.
the positive reviews. The one point everybody kept making was, "I want more. I want to know more." And so I had more interviews that slipped out a little more information of the cult. That way
Mhm.
people are like, "What's going on?" And so like, yeah, this is a cult kind of like happening, stuff like that. And then I wanted to end it on a more um, serious tone and more so of like setting up something more to
Mhm.
Yeah.
really let the audience know that this is still happening. This is still going on. So yeah, it was more so just I wanted to give more to the audience, and then I wanted to end it on a more serious tone because the original cut y'all watched, it was a little abrupt. It was just like bam, 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 credits done. With this one, I want to be like ending, more setup. Let's end it slow.
Right.
Yeah.
And
No,
it
that
was
was
a
pretty-
chance for me to work with other filmmakers across the states because the last two scenes were filmed by two other filmmakers. I wasn't even there.
Right.
I just gave them material, what everybody needs to look like, stuff like that, and
Mhm.
they did it over a weekend, sent it to me. I was like, I like it. So
So
Yeah.
very collaborative in that sense.
oh yeah, it was super collaborative. Like the original story of why they went to the woods was what you see in the movie is my original story, but I changed it because I thought it was too dark of why they go in the woods.
Mhm.
And so, but the cast and crew was like, they're like, so the reason they're going to the woods, they didn't like it because we was talking amongst on set and that energy, collaborative energy was just flowing. And I was
Yeah.
like, well, this is the original idea. And they're like, why don't we do that? I'm like, I thought it was too dark. I just
Yeah.
Oh,
with
wow.
the whole aspect of how her husband died, and they were like, "Oh my gosh!" And I was like, "Yeah, I thought
I'm
that was too dark. That's why I changed it." So,
Oh, I'm glad that yeah,
Mhm.
because I think that's one. I can't remember if we specifically said this when we talked about it in our review, but like that's always the thing, right? Is like, why are you doing this? Why are you there? And I felt like that was answered in a very logical way in this. Like their reason for being there felt realistic. It felt logical. Like
Mhm.
you didn't have all of those found footage questions in your head because
Yeah.
you're just like, yeah, got it. Makes sense. You know what I mean? Like I think that worked really well.
It's a
yeah,
real
I had to
emotional
answer it
reading.
twice in the movie. If you
Yeah.
catch it, like with the documentary aspect, I had to answer, "Why is this happening?" And then when you saw the other footage, I had to answer it again of like, "Why are they out there?" Like, I had to answer it a lot, and I had to make it really like
Yeah.
connect and be realistic. And so, but yeah, what you see is the original idea, but I actually changed it when I gave the script to everybody, and they were
Yeah.
like, when we finally was on set, they were like, "This just feels kind of played out," and I was just like, "Well, this is the original idea," and everybody was like, "Do it, do it, do it, do it." And I'm like, "Okay." And so,
Yeah. I love that you're so open to working with other people like that though, because I don't think that that's everybody's mindset, like But I think when you're viewing it, like the people, the performances that I feel like you got and the way that everything turned out probably honestly does have a lot to do with the relationship that you created with them on set, or, you know, previous friendships and things like that. But just being able to feel comfortable in a space, in a creative space, particularly, and knowing that you're kind of able to take some of those liberties. I think it's really cool that you work that way.
Oh yeah, like I refer to everybody that I work with as like film family. It's like you have to have
Yeah.
that trust, and it's like
Yeah.
with them, I tell them, I'm like, I give y'all trust because you're giving all your trust into me.
Yeah.
To like
For sure.
because like it's like you're giving your trust into me, so why wouldn't I do that? There's certain things that I don't budge on, like certain lines with like with the document, the journalist, like how she ends certain things. I wanted her to, some of the stuff is like the truth is in the woods. Like it's like you got to keep that. You can't change
no,
that.
for
You can't
sure.
ad lib this.
Yeah.
And then certain stuff I definitely kept. But no, usually my role on set is I'm open for everybody's suggestions. We'll try it. If it doesn't work, we move on. That's it. And then, and also the other time I don't really stray away from the script or allow it to be collaborative is when we're running out of time. It's
Sure.
like I tell everybody, I was like, all right, sunset is about to happen. I need everybody to just be focused. I need everybody to hold your questions, suggestions until we wrap. We'll regroup with that, but we got 40 minutes to knock 2 scenes out. I need everybody to just be
Yeah.
so,
Absolutely.
so,
It's a balance.
yeah, it's what I'm saying. It's like, but when it's like go time and like when we're having fun and like we're not like, oh, we got to rush, that's when it's like, oh yeah, we can have fun with it. So, but like when it's like we're running out of time, I need everybody to focus. So,
All right. Well, speaking of running out of time.
Oh yeah.
No, just to be mindful. I had one sort of fun question I wanted to ask you.
Oh yeah.
And then Angel, if you had one last question.
That's his way of saying like, stop talking. I want to get my question in really quick.
Sorry, I talk too much.
Go
I'm sorry.
ahead.
I told y'all not to bring
ask
me
your
on
question.
This is the last, leading into the last segment of the interview.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, what is your Mount Rushmore of horror? So I've heard this version of it, like I don't want to just ask you what's your favorite scary movies. I want to ask you, what are your 4, whether it's a movie, person, filmmaker, writer, someone that got you into horror, whatever. What's your 4 people, your Mount Rushmore of horror?
That's a hard question.
Halloween 78.
Mm-hmm.
Director would be Mike Flanagan.
Nice.
Actor Kevin Bacon. I love him in anything horror. I love him in
Kevin
horror.
Bacon. Okay.
I love
Kevin Bacon. And genre is Korean horror.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, it would be
Great.
John Carpenter, director. Favorite movie would be Halloween 78 because that one of my first films was a fan film.
Yeah.
And another director would be Mike Flanagan because that's the same guy that did all their shows on Netflix, right?
Hill House,
Yes.
Blind
Hill
Manor.
House, Blind
Making
Manor.
sure because I get him mixed up with another person. I do not know why.
Yeah, that's him though. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The one with the vampire that show.
Midnight Mass.
Is great.
That show makes me cry. I have a religious background, so that show really hits a lot of points
yeah,
for
right
me.
in the chest. Yeah.
Yeah. So that, and then Kevin Bacon, I'm still up for him to be the new Freddy Krueger. And even the guy from Richard Gere, I love him in horror movies. I wish he was in the Mothman Prophecies. Yeah. I just think he's got that look. I was just
and he's not really utilized in the genre that much, or hasn't been.
No, I think that besides that and a few serial killer crime movies, I'm like, dude, he's great. But Kevin Bacon, he does so good in horror movies, and like I said, he's in one of my favorite TV shows that got canceled, The Following.
Well, The Following is fantastic.
That ticked me off. That was the last time I stopped watching TV. I was done with TV after that. I was like, y'all broke my heart. So
that was one of very few that I genuinely could not believe it got canceled. Like I couldn't believe it.
Where it was going.
No
at
kidding.
The very end, at the end of that hospital scene where it was going, I'm like, this is about to get good. And Fox is like, about that.
Of course. Fox is the equivalent of, or Netflix is the equivalent of Fox now. get you hyped on something and they just
Yeah, that channel acts as a lot of good stuff.
That's a good question, Steve. I don't think I've ever heard you ask that before. That's a good one.
No, it popped into my head because I was, another podcaster I knew that I worked with back when I was doing Star Wars stuff would ask the Mount Rushmore of Star Wars. And I always loved that question. Now I'm like,
that's cool.
So I like asking it now with the horror version of it.
I like that. I like that a lot. I'm going to add that to my questions.
Yeah, that's a good one for sure. Yeah.
Do you have one, Angel?
I don't. I think we talked about everything. I absolutely
I just want to go to bed. It's fine.
Oh no. I got a long night ahead of me. I'm not going to bed. No, well, I just I'm glad we were able to chat finally because I going into things with the Wendigo, I was very excited because as you know, I'm a big fan of Wendigo lore. Very into Wendigos. And so when I saw that somebody was, when you were like, oh, if you've got this film, and I was like, okay, well, I'm in. First of all, found footage, Wendigo, sign me up. But then I loved that I felt like what you did, and honestly, it's the same for both of these films. I feel like what you did was you took something that I thought I understood, something I thought I knew, and then you took it a step further and you made it unique and you added new things to it. And you did the exact same thing with Children of the Woods being a concept I thought I got, right? And then there were things in it that I didn't expect, or things that took a different turn, or opening it up the way that you chose to, especially with the clips that ended up being added later on and stuff. I think that I've just been like, I love that because I think that sometimes, when these horror movies get mass produced, it's the same shit over and over and over again. And there's no liberties and there's no uniqueness and there's no differences between that and everything else. It's got to be this, or it's got to be a reboot of this, or it's got to be this cookie cutter haunted house story, or these very things. And I feel like in both instances of films that I have seen you put out, there have been those it's just comfortable enough to have me interested, but it's different enough to keep me engaged. And I really, really appreciate that about your filmmaking. And so I just, that's really all. It's really not, that's not a question at all. That was just something I wanted to say to you. Cause I feel like, it's, filmmakers are, rock stars to me, especially in the indie community. I respect and value them so much. And we need more of that in our genre.
Well, with all the writing y'all do, y'all need to make your own movie. So.
I don't even know where to start with making a movie. I had to do a clip for a found footage movie that our friend Scott made. And he was like, yeah, I want you to be in it. And I'm like, you want me to do what? He was like, yeah, just do, but it was fine. It ended up being fine because I could be myself. I was just playing Angel from Voices from the Mausoleum, and it was fine. But other than that, I wouldn't even know where to start. I can write stuff all day long, but knowing what else to do outside of that.
Well, if only you knew somebody to help you with that.
Yeah, but you might be having to step back and do some more found footage.
I don't care. I'm making another found footage movie next year, but it's not my movie. So.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
He just wants me to be the camera guy. He was just like, I need somebody to film it for me. And I was like, I got you.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, cool. Yeah. Thanks again, Jake, for coming on and talking. I'm glad we were able to do this.
Thank y'all for putting up.
Yeah.
Putting up with you.
I talk too much. I'm nervous. I hate doing this.
No, you fit right in. I tell Steve all the time, I don't know how to be quiet when I'm talking. Sometimes I have to remember, let other people. I'm really bad about it. But yeah, no, whenever we'll be promoting, our review of the film, and we'll be talking about it when people are able to see it. And so, yeah, so keep an eye out. Jake's links will be in the description for this episode. You can catch up on everything that he's working on. If you have not seen Wendigo, I do recommend checking it out.
Watch it on Tubi. I get paid the most there.
Huh?
Watch it on Tubi. I get paid the most there.
There you go.
Yeah. I think everybody watches all their found footage on Tubi. It's just the go-to now for found footage.
They pay the most. They pay better.
That's good to hear because it's a free service. Yeah. So that's I love that they're nice to creators. They should be. That's awesome. That's great.
Amazon takes half.
Yeah, Amazon is a monster. Yeah. Yeah.
No
so go watch it on Tubi. Don't watch it on Amazon. Anyway, well, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us on this episode. We hope you have a good rest of your week. Enjoy your weekend, and we will see you in the next one.